Yesterday, we had a little chat about PSVR2 and Sony's plans for the future, if there are any, what games could be coming, if there are any, again, their process of getting the headset over to PCVR, and if we were going to see anything, it would probably be September where it'd be shown off. That video actually was recorded a little while ago before the PCVR adapter news, but to be honest, we all knew it was coming, so it doesn't really change too much. But today, since it's been a couple days after all the behemoth buzz, we're going to be talking about where PSVR2 will fit in the echelons of PCVR and SteamVR in particular. We actually have the graphs that show who's using what on SteamVR, which is really interesting to have a look and see. And there's a little niche in here where I think PSVR2 could slip in quite nicely for people that want an OLED standalone PCVR headset. Now, before we actually talk about some more controversy as well surrounding the PSVR2's lack of features that it's specifically designed for being used on PC because some SteamVR compatibility in Sony, I'm guessing wanting to kind of withhold some of the key features of PSVR2 if you're not using a PS5. We'll get onto that, but initially I do just want to have a look at this graph and see where PSVR2 can slot in pretty nicely. Now, looking at this, you can see a lot of percentages, but the main one you're seeing right now is that only 20% of you are subscribed to the channel. So if you do find yourself enjoying the content, just feel free to subscribe. We're on the road to 10K. I'm fairly sure the behemoth videos won't have boosted that up to 10K. It might have done, but probably not. I'm recording this in the past, so I don't know. But if you do want to help out the channel, it's free to do so. Anyway, taking a look at this, we can see the Quest 2 is the most popular headset still in 2024, with 38.10% of a user base, which is no surprise, is it? It's a very cheap headset. It's under $200 now. That's absolutely nuts. Meta are doing such good work in getting that headset out there. And if you want to play PCVR, it's the headset you go for. Maybe when the Quest 3S comes around in September with the Meta Connect event, maybe we'll see that rise up in the rankings a little bit. But at the moment, we've got a bit of a sandwich here with the Quest 2 and Quest 3 with a little Valve Index in the middle and Oculus Rift S and Vive coming up just below those two. Now, this is exactly the sort of market where PSVR2 will come in, I think. In this sort of like 30% range between these two headsets and then down to the Oculus Rift and Windows MR headset as well. Because a lot of these are standalone, they have to be used on PC. And they are very expensive. We talk about PSVR2 being expensive with about $600 price tag if you want the adapter and the headset. But for that, you're getting OLED, you're getting a high resolution panel, you're getting upgraded controllers with adaptive touch, but a lot of headsets have that, so it's not really the biggest selling point. But the headset is new, and it's certainly more up to date than, say, the Valve Index or the Vive or the Rift. So a lot of people who are going to be getting into VR will see the OLED panels of the PSVR2 and basically see it as just a better option, I think at least, to the Valve Index. There is a small niche in there that really deck out their indexes and they'll love doing that, customizing it to fit exactly how they want it. But for the regular standalone PCVR user who wants a good headset, they can go for OLED for about $600 compared to the $1,000 that the Index is going to cost them, and the little bit more expensive HTC Vive that will come above the PSVR2 as well. And since not really any of these headsets are made anymore, say the Reverb isn't made anymore and the Windows Mixed Reality headset isn't made anymore, there is a gap in the market that definitely PSVR2 can fill, even though it is missing some features, and we'll get onto that now. Despite the PSVR2 offering lossless VR, which is awesome for PCVR and fills in that index gap with a more modern piece of equipment, it is missing dynamic foveated rendering and haptics and HDR. But I'm a bit split between two sides here because on the one hand, it sucks that Sony hasn't pushed this forward and just been like to developers, if you want to implement it, we can do that. But on the other side of it, SteamVR doesn't really support these things, or not very easily at least. Dynamic foveated rendering, you will not see that on most games on Steam. Same with HDR, basically no games support that, and haptics as well. No other headset has adaptive triggers or haptics in the headset band, so no dev is going to have implemented that into a PCVR game, and no dev is going to go back and implement it just because PSVR2 is coming over to PCVR. Sony could add all of these features, but they simply would not get used. Does it suck that the option isn't there to add that in later, maybe through modding? And could they also add it in later themselves with a firmware update? Yes and yes. But as it stands, if we had those features, we simply wouldn't be able to use them. At least the average consumer who doesn't want to go poking around files won't. Now, this does bring me on to my next issue, which is dynamic foveated rendering should become a thing that is consistently on PCVR headsets because it will boost performance for lower end rigs. One day, I believe we'll get there. Today is not that day, unfortunately, but that does mean the PSVR2 is sort of future-proofed. If that does come around in the next 2 to 4 or 5 years, PSVR2 will be a headset that would have come down in price over that time, probably, and will include include that DFR technology, making it a perfect headset for people to pick up in a couple years time if a couple more games implement it, and it will boost their performance. That'll be a real incentive to buy it. So in conclusion, I do think there really is a market for the PSVR 2 on PC. Of course, we'll see how well it sells, but I believe that there's real potential for it. I'm just happy that I'll be able to use my PSVR 2 in F1 VR, in BeamNG, in Assetto Corsa, in Blade and Sorcery, in Bone Lab, all these great games, and in Half-Life Alyx, of course. I can't miss that one out. But yeah, there's loads of potential here. I'm really excited to check it out when it does come around. And also, I've got to ask you guys, how are you feeling about this? Are you going to be using this every day when it comes out? Are you going to be really excited for it? Do you not have a PC at all and you don't care? That's fair enough. Please do let me know in the comments below. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members as well for supporting the content. Our current patron and YouTube member count stands at Luke Bentley, Phil Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jin007, License to Chill, Sun WTF, Piosco, and Fat Controllers. I have to apologize to you. I think the last two on the list, Piosco and Fat Controllers, because a lot of the videos for the next week or so are going to be pre-recorded. I'm heading off to Norway for a couple of days, one for a bit of rest and relaxation, but also to film in advance our 10,000 sub special video, which I'm very excited to get my hands on and start doing, because even though I'm on holiday, I can't really relax. I need to be making something. So your guys' names won't appear for maybe 4 to 5 days or so. That's just because all the content is recorded before you joined. I'm sorry about that. But today you get in the limelight, so Piosco and Fat Controllers. Apologies in advance for the next 4 days of you being absent on the list, but I promise you'll be back after that. Thank you all for watching once again, and I hope to see you all in the next one.